Yep, what they talking about? They talking about nothing. What they talking about? They talking about nothing. I
Huh?
can't even say that shit right because I can't even say it.
That's why I said, huh?
What they talking about?
What they-
Huh? Welcome to another weekly edition of the Best Way to Smoke News with your favorite smoking partner, Serpo.
Make sure you stay elevated with Big J.
Yep, and make sure you hit this sponsor up for all you drippy lip people.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Soggy lip motherfuckers.
Man.
No drip lip.
Don't
Get that
drink
glue
spit.
gone.
Yeah.
Yep. Michigan Supreme Court. Cannabis odor alone is insufficient probable cause for a warrantless vehicle search.
As it should be.
You know what I'm saying? About time somebody is saying
As
it.
it should be.
You know what I'm saying? The Michigan Supreme Court ruled last week that in the wake of adult use cannabis legalization in the state, the odor of cannabis alone is insufficient probable cause for police to search a vehicle. That's the Detroit Free Press reports. The 5-1 decision overturned a 25-year-old legal precedent. Oh, where did I go?
Oh, yeah?
Writing for the majority, Justice Megan Kavanaugh said that the appropriate rule is that the smell of marijuana is one factor that may play a role in a probable cause determination. A warrantless search must be based on probable cause, and the smell of marijuana is insufficient to support probable cause. Kavanaugh. That was, you know what I'm saying, the statement for the majority vote. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Man.
you can be pushing, you can like not even be like smoking. You know what I'm saying? You could probably just have a little touch of some AJs or something like that.
Right.
And be like, so fresh.
Or you might have that J in your ear. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't touched it.
I ain't
But now
touched
you
it.
want to go and rip my car up and all
Man.
that. Put your old funky dog all through the car and
Man.
all that. Like, bruh. But the decision comes from a 2020 case during which police officers conducting a compliance check observed a vehicle parked on the side of the street and smelled the odor of burning cannabis. The officer approached the vehicle and asked if the occupants were smoking marijuana, which they denied. The occupants were asked to get out of the car, at which time an officer noticed a handgun on the passenger seat. One person was arrested and charged with carrying a concealed weapon, being a felon in possession of a firearm, and possession of a firearm during a commission of a felony. That's where the issue comes in at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you just want to come over here just for the smell of marijuana. What if I didn't even have none? They said they didn't have none, you know what I'm saying? And they didn't even say if they found it. You know what I'm saying?
DA reject.
But they went up in there, searched and went in. Y'all know to get out.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? The Supreme Court decision found that the search was unconstitutional because the state adult use law allows adults to possess and consume cannabis at that because the car was parked. No laws were being broken at the time of the search.
DA reject.
You know what I'm saying? So
Keep that case.
I smell marijuana. You
Man.
can't mess with me.
Yeah, keep that case. You can have that one. Hey, look, cannabis rescheduling. Notable absence from White House drug policy plan. Washington, D.C. A newly released drug policy. A newly released drug policy plan from the White House dated April 7th, 2025 has omitted any mention of cannabis rescheduling, raising concerns among advocates and industry stakeholders. The plan outlining the Trump administration's top priorities for combating drug issues focuses heavily on the opioid crisis, fentanyl trafficking, and border security, leaving the future of federal cannabis policies in limbo. Look, I definitely agree with the opioids and the fentanyl, you know what I'm saying, and to get out like that,
Sure.
though. You feel me? The absence of cannabis rescheduling from the White House's drug policy blueprint comes despite ongoing discussions and a previously initiated review process. The Department of Health and Human Services had recommended rescheduling cannabis to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substance Act, acknowledging its accepted medical uses. The Drug Enforcement Administration for those of y'all don't know, that's the what? The DEA was in the process of considering this recommendation, with public hearings initially scheduled for January 2025, but later postponed because they bug crapping. You know what I'm talking about? They bug crapping. Key takeaways from the White House drug policy plan: focus on opioids and fentanyl, border control, prevention and treatment, research and data innovation, no mention of cannabis rescheduling. The document detailing this priorities make no reference to the ongoing discussion on potential federal cannabis reform through rescheduling. Leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
Bruh. Man. Oklahoma cannabis advocates file adult use constitutional amendment. Cannabis advocates in Oklahoma have drafted a constitutional amendment to legalize cannabis for adults 21 and older, the Oklaman reports. I didn't even know it was like, you know what I'm saying, Oklahoma. I thought they was like, you know what I'm saying, on the up and up with it. This is kind of news to me. Oklahomans, that's crazy. I thought I made some names up like that.
But it's right there. They must have heard you say it, though.
Oklahomans for Responsible Cannabis, are the ORCA, filed the proposal late last week. If no legal challenge emerges, the campaign must collect at least over 172,000 valid signatures from registered Oklahoma voters to get the question on ballot. The proposal will preserve the state's existing medical cannabis framework and would exempt medical cannabis purchase from the proposed 10% excise tax on adult use cannabis purchases. Current medical cannabis patients who retain their patient status would also no longer have to pay the current 7% tax on medical cannabis purchases. The draft include protection for cannabis consumers for housing, healthcare, employment, public benefits, education, firearm possession, and financial service. It also includes language around impairment testing for drivers. The mere presence of THC metabolites in a person's blood, urine, hair, hair follicle, or other body fluid or tissue carries no evidentiary weight with regards to current impairment or intoxication. No test which identifies the presence of THC metabolites in a person's blood, urine, hair follicle, or other body fluids or tissue shall be used as evidence for impairment or intoxication for the purpose of denying any of healthcare, housing, employment, public assisting, license, all the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So Oklahomans,
good stuff.
They stepping up, you know what I'm saying, and letting their voice be heard. But that voice is going to be heard. Tag the Oklahomans. Right. You know what I'm saying? They need over 172,000 valid signatures from registered voters. Right. You know what I'm saying? To get that right. Oklahomans.
Good stuff. Man, I'm on the DEA, man. You know what I'm talking about?
Welcome.
You know what I mean? Hey, look, but this is what's going on, though. Look, DEA ramps up recruitment in war on drugs as federal agencies face cuts. Washington, D.C., man. This where it all initiates.
That's the drug? I just gotta
ask. That's what they saying, man. You know what I'm talking about? Bro. That's why they got the cuffs next to it, man. You know what I'm talking about? Look. All right. In a notable statement from the trend of federal workforce reduction, the Drug Enforcement Administration is actively expanding its ranks, launching a significant recruitment drive for new special agents. This initiative comes at a time when other federal agencies are experiencing significant downsizing, particularly under the Trump administration Department of Government Efficiency, Doge. Man, led in part by Elon Musk. Okay, the DEA push to bolster its agent numbers signals a continued emphasis on the war on drugs, a strategy that has faced increasing scrutiny in recent years. Key points from DEA recruitment efforts. Active recruitment. The DEA has initiated a campaign to attract new special agents with focus on reinforcing its enforcement capabilities. Social media and other platforms are being utilized to reach potential applicants. Man, you're gonna have a whole bunch of snitches, boy. A whole bunch of they got a whole line for snitches.
Man.
$50 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Look, war on drugs, this the focus. The agency's messaging emphasizes its commitment to combating drug trafficking, maintaining a strong stance on drug enforcement, federal workforce contracts. This recruitment drive stands in stark contrast to the broader trend of federal workforce cuts, particularly those driven by the Doge initiative. This initiative that is being run by Elon Musk and has support from the Trump administration. Recruitment details. The DEA has released details about the amount of applications that they are willing to take for a new special agent position. The DEA is also creating videos to help recruit new agents that detail the role and responsibilities of the job. The DEA recruitment push raises questions about the administration's priorities regarding federal spending and drug policy. While many agencies are facing budget constraints, and the DEA is being given the resources to expand its operation. It got me thinking right now, right? And what I'm thinking is they so quiet on cannabis. They so quiet on the trees right now. You know what I'm talking about? They not trying to push it through. So they might put that in that category in some kind of way to where they coming. Man, we'll see though, man.
Hey. They ain't talking about nothing.
Man.
Florida bill would waive medical cannabis registration fees for veterans. Let's see what they talking about in Florida. Lawmakers in the Florida House Health Professions and Program Committee last week voted to advance a proposal to waive the annual $75 registration fee for medical cannabis patients who are veterans. Now, when they said a medical registration fee, that's like when I first started and everybody was going to go get that recreation card.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That make you okay. Introduced by Republican Alex Andrade, the bill would also extend the certification period of medical cannabis patients for the program from 1 year to 2 years. So patients would need to get recertified for the program half as often. Additionally, while the $75 registration fee would be waived for veterans, they will still be required to pay their certification for the program by a licensed doctor. A previous version of the bill, HB 555, sought to add home cultivation to the program, expand the number of qualifying conditions, and allow patients with out-of-state medical cannabis IDs to participate in the program. But those provisions were removed before the committee considered the proposal. HB 555 has a companion measure in the Senate Bill 552, but the proposal has not been touched since it was introduced on early March, the report said. The Florida medical cannabis program has over 900,000 registered patients. You know what I'm saying? So, Florida is getting that medical in, boy.
Hey, and that's right, Alex. Caruso, that's not Caruso.
Nah, Alex Andrade.
Yeah, that's right, Alex Andrade. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say this, though. Florida, this one thing I did see a clip with Trump. He said, I like what Floridans are doing.
Those are for the veterans, though.
You know what I'm saying?
Those are for the veterans, mind you. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
If you're a veteran, these benefits apply to you. Yep. Oh, yeah. That's your weekly edition of the Best Way to Smoke News with me, your favorite smoking partner, Surfo Jr.
And make sure you stay elevated with Big J.
Baby.